Dear devotees, today we will talk somewhat of a conclusion of the discussions we have had about faith in the last few weeks. We have been developing some research on the OIDA therapy, which basically is a recuperation of faith therapy, or in most cases, a gaining faith therapy, because for many people in this world of materialism, there wasn't much to recuperate because they didn't have very much faith to begin with. What is the meaning of Holy Scriptures, like the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita? They are faith-transmitting scriptures. You can have faith in them. You can eliminate your doubts through them. Thus you can gain faith in the validity of their statements, and then, of course, follow their instructions with faith. It is not faith in a book what we need. It is not faith in a ritual that we need. We need to have faith in the substance of life. We need to have faith that controlling our senses and dedicating our life to our mystical tradition in specific will be beneficial for us. Will make us a better citizen, will make us a more healthy person, will make us a part of the solution rather being part of the problem, will make us a person more capable to confront the temptations of this material world, will increase your level of capacity of discrimination for the specific purpose of going beyond exploitation and indifference as well. Faith is a treasure. Faith is a gift. Faith can be gained, increased, and can also be lost. So there's a whole science about faith, since we move in our life in greater degrees on the inspiration of faith. Famous statement, faith can move mountains. And this is a fact. Just look upon the religious structures which have been made around the world. Now I want to exclude here those structures which have simply been made as an exhibition of power of some ecclesiastical structure to show their wealth or their superiority over others. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to those buildings, to those constructions made out of love. once the children in Chile, in Peñalolén, a little farm, they invited me to come into the forest, and I was just about leaving, so I wasn't paying much attention to them. But then I saw a very, very desperate and frustrated look upon their face. And when I saw that look, I said, no, I have to look what they want to show me. So I followed them, and I had to go on, down to go through a little hole in the jungle to go into a little cave made out of greeneries and herbs and creepers. And as I went in there were all the children united, and they had made a temple inside this little hole, and they had made a beautiful altar. And as I came in there, they started a meditation, a prayer singing, and offering some items to the altar, just like a big temple big people made. They made a beautiful small temple inside the greenery. I'm referring to this type of temple, which people make out of faith, out of love for their Lord. And if you look in the world, you do find incredible architecture connected with temple construction. You find tremendous human efforts, huge undertakings for the sake of glorification of God. So, in this sense, faith moves mountains. Faith has a capacity to get people inspired. Faith has a capacity to make people be self-critical, analyze their own consciousness, and definitely trying to improve their own consciousness. So faith is an ingredient of maximum importance in life. And based on faith, sacrifice appears, selflessness appears, renunciation appears, charity appears, all based on faith of the benefits of doing the right thing rather than the wrong thing. Therefore, it is a treasure to gain faith or to recover faith in case you have had it before. The way to gain faith is to dive deep into the appreciation of the miraculous existence of life. Appreciation that love is the greatest gift we have received, and that through love our life is livable, tolerable, meaningful, incredible, spectacular, a great test to pass, and eventually to reap the result of your efforts, if you consider that death is some kind of a final exam on what we did in this lifetime. Obviously, death is a final exam because it means the schooling time and the examination time in this body is definitely finished. So we better reach to the point of death in a very mystical and very beautiful consciousness. And for that, faith will supply us with the ingredients and with the activities to purify ourselves, to enthuse ourselves, to go on pilgrimage, to read holy books, to recite holy prayers, to celebrate festivities which increase our charity and gratefulness and compassion, to practice certain types of austerities, yoga, meditation, sacrifices of recognition of our smallness before the greatness of the Creator. There's plenty of aspects of faith which are being learned in different mystic traditions in different peculiar ways. And it is not upon us to decide what is the best of them for others. It is just upon us to decide for ourselves what is best for ourselves. So therefore, in the search for faith, gaining faith, recovering faith, Veda therapy provides a marvelous array of information and historical support how faith has done the good and not the bad. Faith and mystic development has never ever been the cause of wars or cruelty. Fanatically manipulated minds by those who have selfish motives have definitely been able to mix certain faiths into degraded activities, such as suicide bombing, for example. But this is a side issue which we don't even have to touch upon, because aberrations of conduct can be found anywhere and everywhere, and specifically when weak people are manipulated into a certain way of alarmistic thinking, then they're ready to do wrong things without understanding the implications. But we are looking upon the nature of the mystic tradition as loving, producing compassion, all-embracing love, non-sectarian approach. Because look at this. If somebody's teaching love for God and love for all living beings, how in the world is he going to tell others that those who don't follow the way you think and love should be mistreated in any way? It just doesn't fit together. Therefore, as soon as in the world of religious tradition the mistreating of others appears, we immediately can understand that distortion has entered the system. Instead of faith, we are dealing with simple political interests, egotism in whatever disguise it may come, nationalism, patriotism, and above all, megalomaniac mentalities, which make you feel better than others and having the right of subjecting others to your whim. So this is the sum and substance of what we are working. To give faith its dignity. Why are we here in Vrindavan? Because we have faith. We have faith in those who have invited us to Vrindavan. We have faith in Srila Prabhupada. We have faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his invitation. We have faith in that beautiful Mahamantra. We just feel good about it. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So, faith is something which can make you joyful. And joyfulness is very important on the spiritual path. Even though within the teachings there's also a side where you become somewhat sad and morose about being still so distant from purity, from the goal, from the Lord. By feeling yourself still so distant, or by feeling the distance and the separation from beloved devotees, we have seen that devotees are sometimes very sad. But it is a different type of sadness. It is a sadness of joy. Because the sadness of sadness if there's nobody to love. But the sadness of feeling separation of somebody you love is a joyful sadness at the same time, because you have somebody who you love so much that you even feel sad because he's not here. Actually, in the Bhakti school of India, approaching the Supreme Lord in the mood of separation is actually an important element. Because we want to reach the Supreme Lord, but we haven't reached him yet. Srila Bhakti-Rakshita Maharaj explained that in his golden volcano of divine love with the words, the closer you get to the goal, the more unbearable it becomes not having reached yet. So it is too sweet to resist and too hot to tolerate. Something like that. It's a tension line. Spirituality is very demanding, it is very absorbing. Faith is something which grabs your heart and gets you all involved. Fortunately, mental calculations cannot produce that intensity. But since we are anyway souls, and our heart is the predominating influence on us, therefore, it is clearly understood that eventually in our existence we have to go the path of the heart. We can't go the path of the mind. That is torturous. The path of the mind is the path of skepticism. It's the path of cynic thinking. It's the path of calculation. It's the path of suspicion. It's the path of searching the weakness in others. Such horrible things. The brain is not really a good friend of the heart unless it is being put under the guidance of real, mystical, saintly people and is put to study. You should use your brain to study and use your heart to love. When you have a broad-minded approach to life, meaning if you're ready to love anybody and everybody, then you have very good hope for your future. There's everything positive ahead of you. For sure. So we need Krishna's care and love. We need it so much. And he's supplying it in one way or in another amongst all people of the world, all tribes and all different ethnic groups. There has been faith in God. They have believed in the Creator, and upon that belief structures were created how to live together and how to serve the Supreme. Now, the exact distinctive impact of these different structures, they are different from each other. But the essence is the same, that you have to love others and not mistreat them. There has to be justice, there has to be respect to the energy and to the energetic. The energy is the material energy, the material world, the great mother. And the energetic is the power-giving designer, the underlying or supreme visionary, whose vision is supervising everything which exists, including your own life. Because in our life things happen which are not in our control, which are somewhat coming from other type of sides. Some things in my life are within my control. Good, enough of that. But some things in my life, they are beyond my control. So my question, or the question of faith is, are those things which are beyond my control, are they in the control of someone? Is there a helping hand behind everything? Is there a guide, a protector, a guard behind everything? And faith means to come to the conclusion that yes, there is. There is somebody who knows me. There is somebody who cares for me. There is somebody who knows everything. There is a truth. And this is a great gift to have that belief. Doesn't matter in what religion you obtain it. There's a great thing. Of course you extend this concept to understand that he's also in everybody else my brother and sister, and immediately you can understand that respect and care for others is compulsory in the spiritual mystic traditions. So this is something we really have to understand, that having faith that things are not accidental, that things are not just, how you may call it, that things are not by chance. So then we can understand that we have a very positive future. We have something to look forward to realize. We have something to look forward to apply. We have something to look forward to obtain. And that is so grand and noble and generous that it is even far above the attainments of matter, name, fame, glory, money, all this. No. We're not talking about that. Faith will give us an expectation to come to a meaning which doesn't mean that old age, disease, and even death will make it lesser. Because the eternal soul has an eternal future. And an eternal future means an eternal duty. In India, this is called Sanatana Dharma. It is not only a mode of behavior just to be happy and have a nice social interaction. No, Sanatana means it is the eternal well-behavior for harmonizing with God. And Jaiva Dharma is another way of expressing it. It is the eternal position of the soul. The eternal position, the functions of the soul, which is totally beyond the temporary influence of the fears created in this material world, where we're always in fear that everything is going to vanish right in front of our existence. We are also going to vanish. According to materialistic philosophy, everything is in vanishing phase. Means everything is just disappearing. Life is disappearing. The body is disappearing. The universe is disappearing. The earth is disappearing. The sun is disappearing. Everything is disappearing. Everything is vanishing. So really materialism means the vanishing philosophy. And after vanishing, there's nothing left to focus upon, because even the one who's focusing, he will vanish before the universe will vanish. So it is just vanishing, vanishing and vanishing. And how do you going to draw a positive impulse from a vanishing philosophy? It's impossible. So it is a suicidal mentality which is very suitable for slow suicide through sense gratification. Junk food, pornography, drugs, alcohol, eating meat, fish and eggs, torturing animals in so many ways. It's terrible. For the temporary gain, the temporary benefit, the vanishing philosophers think anything goes. Everything is valid. They cannot even see any sacredness in anything. So for them, sex life is the most important diversion, and for that they have no restrictions. So whether they have man with man, woman with woman, woman with man, married or not married, anything goes in the vanishing philosophy. Because there's no respect for marriage, because marriage is just a mental concoction which is increasingly going out of fashion. So, if the whole purpose of life is just temporary pleasure, then why you should be considering any restrictions? And that's where Freud came in and said, our problems are we are all neurotic. We have all traumas for having repressed our sexual impulse by religious propaganda. And he was so well received. Practically he was celebrated as the messenger of the free sex movement. He himself, before he died, said, I am retracting myself and I don't want to be held responsible for anything I wrote and taught. But that part people don't study. That was then later he went into a mental hospital himself. Incredible, the history of psychoanalysis. Isn't that true, Govinda? Yeah? He went in the later stage into hospital. You don't think so? I heard so. We have to investigate. Anyhow, but he did write that he wasn't responsible for anything which he had said. So, when we are approaching the face therapy, we are actually opening a world of treasure to the soul with new resources. We have the resource today of being able to know what has been faced for different cultures, what type of inspirations they have gained by their faith. Just like we, most of us here present are not born in India, coming from different parts of the world, but we all gained faith that this mystical India has something so wonderful to present that we came here and became monastic practitioners, absolutely on our own accord. That in itself is a very amazing phenomena, so to say. Professor Basham, leading Indologist authority, he said that practically speaking, the influence of Bhaktivedanta Swami in the Western world created a revolution amongst mystical history traditions by actually attracting or converting many people to an orthodox, strict monastic lifestyle, and absolutely voluntarily, so much that even they flock by the thousands to India to go deeper into the teachings by searching out bhakti teachers and holy places of pilgrimage and establishing refuges or monasteries, ashramas, on that inspiration all around the planet Earth. Professor Basham wrote, that does not find any comparison in the history, because most of the old traditions are in a way of dying out. He said the only thing could be compared to it would be the spreading of Christianity around the world, but that cannot be compared because Christianity spread at the point of the sword. It didn't spread because people were so eager to become Christians. They became Christians to save their life. So you can't even compare it. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada made something which, in one way or another, considering the orthodoxy and the strictness, it has no parallel in the history of man. But in the case of Avita therapy, we have such a broad approach that we reach out much larger and simply say that now it is the time to utilize our capacity, our intelligence, to evaluate what's valuable within faith for me, for you, for everyone. To evaluate it with a plain potential to reject what you don't feel is very convincing and accept what you consider very fortunate and favorable to have encountered. Avita therapy is the end to the tyranny in the realm of faith. Tyranny in the realm of information. Because tyranny is a kind of imposition through fear. But nowadays we can get information about anything and everything practically. Both all the nonsense as well as so many treasures. Specifically through the internet or through the simple information age in which we are. And we also have information to find out about the positive past and the negative past. the experience. And we have the capacity of comparing impartially what is being offered in this world to be positive and progressive for humanity. So all in all, we can say that this is a very auspicious moment for the world to reevaluate and reassess what we have and what we don't have, what's good and what's bad. And even politically speaking, we can say that the majority of the systems governing the world are not so repressive that they actually let people evaluate and reassess, even though the greater part of the majority of the world is dominated by the lust, anger, and greed principle of capitalism and the publicity for sense gratification. Nevertheless, there's not such a harsh repressive mood like in the communist time, fascist time, dictatorships time, or the times where you would just be killed for thinking differently than the governors do. But of course, it's not totally finished. There are still places in the world where you can be killed for preaching. There are still places in the world where you can be locked up for belonging to something from your heart which the authorities do not agree with. But definitely they have become the minority. Probably China is the largest of the portions in the world where intolerance towards other thinking is still manifesting through the maximum degree. And even there, the chanting of Hare Krishna is spreading. So, Lord Chaitanya has picked a particular age to send his pure devotee to start his mission in the midst of the hippie movement of America and Europe. That's the reality historically. In the hippie movement, young people questioned the values of Western society to that degree that they said, oh no, this doesn't have much to offer, let's look for other things in life. And it were those hippies who were the first ones to chant and dance in Prabhupada's mantra trance. And even the saying was at that time, chant Hare Krishna and stay high forever. Stay high is a way of hippie expression of getting drugged out. They considered it that when you are in intoxicated state, then you are high. Just to show how illusionary this whole hippie philosophy is. Because instead of going high, you're going low. You're going low and destroying your brain, you're destroying your future. So what the mantra is not making you stay high forever in that sense, but it is making you stay transcendental forever and don't go into the world of destruction, self-destruction, senseless, selfish, sensual life of illusion. So we are very grateful to this movement of faith which has come to us, and we feel through Onida therapy we can bring that spirit of faith and joy to many people who have lost it and who have simply tortured in that what is called rational thinking without any real impartiality and, to say the truth, not rational at all. Because rational means reasonable. And it's not reasonable to live without faith when every morsel of food you put into your mouth is being produced by higher powers which are beyond your control. When every breath of air is being supplied by Mother Nature, who you know nothing about. It is reasonable from this point of view to have faith, at least in Mother Nature. And if you have a reverential attitude towards Mother Nature, your spiritual life has already begun. Then you have to find out, where do we find out what Mother Nature wants us to do? In India, people have great regard and great respect for Mother Nature. In the name of Durga and Kali, they give Mother Nature so much respect and so much worship and so much prayer. They say, "Dear Durga Devi, dear Kali, forgive me for being such a materialistic person, but be so kind and give me what I need so I can have a happy life." And then those who are devotees of the Lord, of Krishna, they don't make special efforts of worship Durga and Kali, because they know when we worship the Lord of Lords, Kali and Durga is so pleased with us that automatically she will give us all the facilities for engaging in the Lord's service. So regards for nature is a very essential part of spirituality. And if you respect Mother Nature, you respect Mother Earth, and of course you have to respect your own mother. And if you want to respect your own mother, you really have to respect all women. And if you respect all women, you have to see that the function of the female caring principle is not something which dropped from the sky by accident, but it has been conceived by the Absolute. Just like your mother is holy to you, even if you're an atheist, why you don't think about who brought about the idea that you have a mother? Why you put the sacredness only at that level where it touches upon you, and you don't want to increase it even towards the general principle of motherhood? There's many ways to approach faith. It's not the one track. To go on this, getting proximity towards the world of faith, the phenomena of faith, the impact of faith, the healing effect of faith, you will find a great variety of helpful instructions along the way. And wonderfully enough, always supported by your own heart. When I say that, I'm talking about your sincere inner research, your prayer, not your mind. People confuse the guidance from the heart with the mental concoctions and speculations. No. I'm talking here about what is being told to you. Example, you want to steal something which doesn't belong to you. Then before you do it, you listen into your heart. You say, shall I do it, yes or no? What does the heart say? No. Why does the heart say no? Stealing, isn't that a relative consideration? Is not really nobody the owner? Where's the underlying principle of property? If we are all born naked and go naked, who's the owner of everything? Well. That brings us to a whole other world of discussion. But your heart will tell you no. And if you listen to your heart, you won't steal. So this is something where you can talk to the master inside. If you sincerely ask him, is there a meaning of life? Is there something good to be done in this world? Or should I just be a criminal rascal? The heart will tell you, yes, my dear, there's something very good to be done about life. Go and find who are the people in this world who are good and avoid all the people who are bad. The inner master is well functioning in 6 billion human beings or more. But unfortunately, they are more listening to the television than they're listening to the master inside. Therefore, when we are really exhausted, when we are really materially slashed and slammed forward and back, up and down, and we have really had it with this material existence and become serious about spirituality and life and responsibility and all that, then we will come to the same conclusions. Then the world of faith will make itself accessible to us. And it's a very amazing thing, how illusion is so popular, even though it is so self-evident of being frail, impermanent, and without true prospects of benefits. But still, the devotees of Maya, there are plenty. And the devotees of the truth are rare to be found. Illusion has people mesmerized. So they're in a phantasmagoric life of being enthused for the temporary, but they're not happy at all. And now we can offer them a very deep study into their own soul to gain faith for their well-being and for the well-being of everybody connected with them. A school of love. A school of faith is a school of love. It's a school of benefits. It's a school of sacrifice. It's really special. And all this is connected to what we discover to be the essence of our life. The most essential thing. Sexual attractiveness, that captures the mind of young people and sometimes also old people. But who falls in love with a 70-year-old man or woman? That's just not very attractive. Guy's walking with a stick, all the teeth have fallen out, and you're going to say, "Oh, you look so lovely." Come on! The enchantment for this body is not what is going to sustain us in a joyful, positive way. It's not meant to be. Beauty was an incentive to keep the reproductional process going and hopefully to bring about some solid marriages. But you see, it's all relative anyway. Even the cockroaches, they have their beloved. They fall in love and have lots of little cockroaches and they think they're having a grand old time. So lust is not something which is a privilege of human life, as you can clearly notice. It's not the meaning of life. Now what to speak about the stupidity of intoxication, gambling, parties of killing, diversions, bullfights, and all this silly, bloody business going on in this world. And then of course there's money and fame. You're old, ugly, but you have properties. At least you think you have. So you think, I bought another building. I bought another farm. You can't even walk anymore to look at your farm. Fame and glory. It's the same old story. You're working hard like an ass for nothing more but grass. So what is this name and property? You cannot even take your neck beads with you when you die. And before you die, somebody's going to tell you, hey, sign this paper because we need something. And you're not even going to be able to read the paper. You say, oh, what does it say? Say, don't worry about it, only just sign here. And then you sign over your properties to somebody who you don't even know who they are. Probably they steal it before you die. And if not, just wait when you're dead. Then they have a good fight over what you left behind. See who grabs it for a while. Because after you grab something, you also have to lose it again. It's all a big game of illusion. So do you want the game of illusion forever? So, the realm of faith is so generous and open and gives our own existence so much dignity, opens proportions unknown to us previously, where our greatest participation in this world is through your heart, is through your love, where you are actually becoming part of the divine plan of giving love to all. Not only you're gaining love, receiving love, but you can be one who's giving love. Incredible! Now you have a dignity of existence. Now you have something to live for, and losing everything and dying, that's nothing. It just simply means time to move on for the next period of service on the higher level of consciousness, hopefully. Properties? What properties? Krishna's the proprietor of everything since time immemorial and forever. And you little pipsqueak? What? For a few years you can take care of some of Krishna's incredible assets. A little house, a little land, your wife, your children. Most probably they're going to leave you before you die. At least the children, they grow up and they say, thanks mom, it was a good time with you, now I have to make my own life, because unfortunately you just don't understand my lifestyle now. Look, you still listen to the Rolling Stones. I am listening to techno. And I don't want to hear anything about the Beatles. Huh? I don't care for them. And then the mother says, oh, the youth is so degraded. But do you remember what your parents thought when you got into rock and roll? Wasn't it the same story? They said, oh my children, the youth is so degraded. Look at this terrible rock and roll they're listening to. So this is a kind of an ongoing problem of generations not being able to join with each other. Why not? Because they do not have faith. Because from the smallest child to the oldest man, we join together in faith. My faith can be your faith. And together we can join in joy to serve our faith. Not in selfishness. In selfishness we can't join with anybody. Not even with our husband and wife. Because nowadays if you have a property, your wife is immediately going to say, are you going to put it in both of our names? And he's going to say, because if he puts it in both of their names, then next moment there's a divorce, house has to be sold so that she can take half and you can take half. They even want to cut the children in pieces. So the idea of property is really, really a complex issue, isn't it? But in the world of faith, we can join together because we do not consider these things so important. We just want to hear. We want to hear the sound from those who are not attached to the temporary in this world. This is the path of faith towards those who speak without illusion and exploitation and indifference in this world. To find such people will not be easy in no mystical tradition, but we also have faith that if we really want to have those people's company, that God will supply this company. God will make it possible. Because He is the controller. He is the one who oversees everything. He is the one who hears our prayer. He is the one who allows the karmic interactions to manifest. He is the one who can forgive and give spiritual amnesty. He is the one who feeds us. He is the one who loves us. He is the one who gave you your mother and father. He is the one who has given us a feeling deep in our heart which can develop, blossom like a lotus flower into the most beautiful, loving expressions and services in life. He is the one who has designed everything, and He is the one who's waiting for us in His eternal world of love. He is the one, and you are part of Him, and there is no need of trying to live happily without Him and forgetting Him and substituting Him or anything like that. So please make everything possible now in your life to find that treasure of faith, because it will sustain you when name, fame, glory, properties, family, all will give you up. But even at the moment of death, it will be faith which will sustain you in glory and take you to wherever it wants to take you. That's up to be decided by Him who is behind all of us, above all of us, and inside of all of us. Thank you very much for hearing those concluding observations on the Oida therapy, and hopefully we will be able to exchange much more into this direction for the benefit of all. And let's see what the plan of the Lord is, because last not least, humanity is in great need for some new revival of spiritual, mystical, non-sectarian consciousness, which puts love at the first and doctrine at the second. Because if love is at the first, then doctrine will be helpful to realize more love. But if doctrine is the first, it usually becomes dogma and often is being executed without love. And then it turns into all the aberrations we have already been seen and often have even destroyed our own faith. Anyhow, as you can see, this is a whole world, the world of consciousness, no doubt. That's good. We need to grow, and it will take some time to achieve the perfection of life. But if we work hard for it, there's no reason why we shouldn't make a good step ahead in this wonderful opportunity God has granted to all of us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Guru Maharaj, ¿cómo desarrollar e incrementar la fe en la presencia de la Suprema Personalidad de Dios en la deidad?
¿En la edad?
En la deidad.
En la edad.
En la deidad.
Ah, en la deidad. Thakurji,
Can you translate the question?
she's asking
How to worship God in the deity.
how to increase our faith of the presence of God inside the deity. First of all, I do not think that we can increase our faith. We can gain faith by grace. We can go deeper into the teachings of our respective faiths, but we cannot create it. Faith in the deity is being transmitted by all those who worship the deity, by the history of the worship of the deity, by the history of how the temple has come about. Take example Vrindavan. We made this temple which had been 20 years without deity and without worship. There was only one Govardhan Shila here, and that was just lying like it was nothing important. That Govardhan Shila you can see in the temple on top. It's on the roof now. The original Govardhan Shila which was here. So, but when the temple was finished, practically as soon as the temple was finished, this man came and he said, I've heard you have a temple without deity. I have a deity who's looking for a temple. Because I want to take sannyas, and as a sannyasi I cannot carry around deities. If you want, I bring the deity to your temple, but one condition. You have to offer 1 kg of milk every day to the deity. And of course we jumped. Yeah, of course. Huh? And in this way it happened. Sisi Guru Gauranga Radha, Raja Mohan appeared here on their own accord. I came, it happened while I was not even here. The next time I came, there was Radha Krishna on the temple, in the altar. And deity which is hundreds and hundreds of years old. Total history we don't know. We just know they come from Shantipur, from the place where Advaita Acharya appeared. So, gives a lot of faith, such a story, doesn't it? Then our faith in the deities, because we have faith in the spiritual master. We cannot worship the deity without the spiritual master. Without the spiritual master, we can't do anything in spiritual life, really. Because even to make an offering of food, you offer it through your guru. The spiritual masters for us in spiritual life, like what we hold on to give us strength and faith in Bhakti Yoga. And we hold on to his lotus feet for the rest of our life. And we feel very safe doing so. As a matter of fact, when you hold on to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, you can do anything and everything. And you will always be guided and inspired. It's when we let loose the lotus feet of our spiritual master and start speculating around, then we lose the clear vision and clear idea. So, the deities are being installed by the spiritual master. As a matter of fact, the spiritual master, he executes the pran pratishta. It is by his prayer that God, who listens to his devotee, comes into the form of the deity to receive the service of the devotee through this form, this divine form. So deities have something to do with the spiritual master always, you see. They're very connected. And this is very nice. Then you have a connection with the Guru and with Krishna simultaneously, are very connected. We don't worship the deity in the idea that we are great devotees. We are worshiping the deities to simply remember all the grace which has come to us. It makes it visible. We can offer what we want to offer to God, we can offer it through the deity, through the Guru, through the Vaishnava. I worship the deity by giving food to the Vaishnavas. It's a whole process of beautiful, loving interactions. So the faith in the deity is something very beautiful. And if you consider India, a place where some deities have been worshipped for thousands of years, Tirupati, Jagannath, thousands of years. The temple of Jagannath, I read yesterday, has 8,000 pujaris. Good amount, huh? 8,000 pujaris. That's including the cooks. Because there are lots of cooks there. They cook for a lot of people, and the cooks are also pujaris because they cook for the Lord. So in this way, to have faith in the Lord in the form of the deity, it is also something very given to you by the grace of the Guru, because like sometimes people come in the temple, they look at the deity, they look at the temple, they look at you, they say, who are these people? Are they really so crazy to worship dolls? Are they like little kids grown older and they couldn't give up the mentality of playing with dolls, and now they put them on the altar and they worship with dolls? Is that the whole mentality and the whole background of what's going on? Some people, they're amazed by the phenomena. But the matter of fact is that the grace of faith is not to be penetrated by suspicion. It is only to be understood for the searcher of faith. And those who have this faith, like for example, if you don't accept the spiritual master, but you accept the deity And this is another type of strange concoction. What is this? Yes, this is God, but I don't believe in anybody else who's with you. It's only God and me. Some absolute Kanishta mentality. So faith in the Lord in the form of the deity is definitely something glorious. If we want to have more faith in the deity, we can pray to the deity and do service. Now we should not forget one thing about spiritual life. And that's for Oida therapy an essential thing, even though very difficult for people to understand unless they really have a great longing for it. That in spirituality, in mystic relationships, in real faith, 90% of everything is the service you do for it. The efforts you make, the sacrifices you make. It's not a mental thing, oh yes, I have such a nice world of faith, and then you go back and do all your nonsense and wasting time all day. No. If you have a spiritual faith which has captured your heart, you have to work for it all day. You have to work for it. You don't go here and there and there and there and look and talk and this and that. No, you have no time for that. You do service. Very serious service. And you don't hang around joking with young girls and young boys and hee ha ha ha. No time for that. Very serious, real spiritual life. It's a question, it's a service consciousness. And if you have faith, that faith will draw from you participation. Therefore, an intelligent devotee immediately goes, where's service, where's a broom? I want to clean this, I want to do that, I want to go in the kitchen, I want to cut vegetable, I want to do things. Don't spend time wasted uselessly. And if you have nothing to do, then sit down and read a book or chant rounds. But don't be idle. In the case of Krishna consciousness, this is how we apply this. No time for being idle. Your relationship with your guru is not to massage him. Of course, if that opportunity comes, you will also happily accept that. But this is not a relationship imagine, you know. The relationship with the spiritual master is to serve the ideals he has given to our heart. And now they grow within us. We grow with it. It's not something. Like nothing belongs to me. Bhakti yoga doesn't belong to us. Oida therapy doesn't belong to us. The deity doesn't belong to us. Krishna and the Guru doesn't belong to us. We belong to them. And they will tell us and make use of our existence as much as we allow. So therefore, the service relationship is spiritual life. If you're sitting with your Guru a few moments and he gives you a personal instruction, then cherish that. If you get one letter from the spiritual master in your life, you can live on that letter for the rest of your life. But you have to live it. Spirituality has to be a living tradition, has to be something, a life in service. Then it will be satisfying to the self. Hare Krishna.
Gracias,